as many do, especially many Brazilians did, more in that cycle mode. But we saw him step up and evolve and get to a point where in the most beatdowny, one of the most beatdowny metas ever for World Finals, make it all the way to the top 2. So certainly a guy who can hit that flexibility, but then again, we're talking about Mohamed Light. Let's see. Now, I will say this, that if we work back to, I think it was the 2023 season, Pedro was the guy, right? He was the breakout star of that year. One of the only other people to put in 3 accounts in the top 10 on a ranked season finish. So this is one of those ones where I can watch these two go head-to-head every single time.
And the thing about Pedro, too, at that World Finals was you knew exactly what he was going to run. He was going to run minor control or he was going to run minor mortar, and he just did it over and over and over, and no one could do anything about it. So I really like that he's going back to minor control here against Mo in game number 1. Let these guys feel each other out, see how their nerves are going, see how their interactions, how on point they are. And so far, we've seen that Dark Goblin connect on the right-hand side, and a little bit of minor damage on the right-hand side as well for Pedro.
Did not run it at all yesterday, but back to this very quick cycle for Pedro here in game number 1 against Mohamed Light. And, I think that one of the things that doesn't get talked about enough is the nerves. We've talked about it some, but the nerves that even the top-tier players face, right? And you're trying to work on a tiny screen where one tile and one split second changes everything. And I think that when you realize that Mohamed Light actually is nervous when he's playing at these high games, Pedro, we've seen as well, has the same situation. The ability to overcome those nerves, I think, is one of the big separators between these two guys and a lot of the rest of the Clash Royale world.
Yeah, you got to be able to be emotionless in Clash Royale, as hard as that is to do. For the point of not getting too excited and making mistakes, but also for the point of when you lose a game or you lose a set, you have to bounce back.
So final minute of regulation, double elixir. Miner goes to the back, and Pedro recognizing there's no King Tower activation against that Miner. Let's start getting the mind games going as early as possible.
Yeah, that Berserker has to come out every single time to catch that Miner, and obviously for Mohamed Light, he hopes he places it in the right spot. The synergy with Vines and Wall Breakers or Vines and Goblin Barrel is really, really exciting, I think, for bait players, because it makes the Wall Breakers and those barrels effective. The regular barrels and the Wall Breakers still effective, even late game.
Mother Witch
that's a lot of damage.
Yeah. Mother Witch trying to slow things down, but going to still take the damage. Things still close right now. Not quite a catch. And you see just Pedro leaving that one a little bit low, seeing that Mo's trying to kind of cover bases rather than maybe necessarily go for the direct catch and getting a little bit of damage, but it is Mohamed Light with the lead, 22-40 to 23-17.
This deck just does so well against bait in the sense of you have the log, you have the skellies, you have that golden knight to be able to deal with the regular barrel, and then of course you have the E-Spirit to deal with that Evo barrel, which is one of the best cards in the game to deal with the Evo barrel.
Berserker gets one on the left-hand side. Electro Spirit to absorb the Fire Spirit, and now red hair in both lanes.
Really nicely played there by Pedro. He doesn't send in the Miner. Mohamed Light goes Berserker left-hand lane, and then recognizes, okay, now I need to cover for the Miner. He drops the Valkyrie on top of the tower, and no Miner comes in. So technically, Pedro could have sent in a Miner then, but instead decides to play some defense. Probably the better idea.
And Mohamed going to eat a little bit of damage here on the left-hand side, sacrificing for the need to defend the right-hand lane. Poison, though, starting to do its work for Pedro as we enter sudden death.
And this is exactly what he did back in 2023, although he's taken a lot of damage there, not using the ability, I think, on that Golden Knight. Instead, just kind of lets it swing away on those goblins, catches the Miner this time with the Berserker, but as you said, Rich, that poison damage is going to add up. Surprised that Pedro just took that much damage from the barrel.
And we are, similarly to what we saw earlier, we're in a situation again where one player has direct damage and the other player does not. So Pedro just has to prevent against these connections, but look at that one. Down to 1130, spent so much elixir and gave up so much damage, has to respond.
I have the replay up on my other screen, and in that moment it just looked like Pedro was ticked down to 1 with that Golden Knight, but he still could have used the ability, and wow, now running away with it in that bottom right-hand side. Just a misstep. Just completely overwhelmed. Mo spends a little bit more than he needs to on offense.